Hi, my name is Jay Sugarman, and I want to welcome you to Museum Open House. This ongoing series features and highlights many of the outstanding museums and other cultural institutions. The main purpose of most programs is to inform viewers about current and upcoming exhibits, various programs, resources, and other opportunities that are available for the general public. Today via Zoom, we're fortunate to have as our guests Martha Friend and Alison Drasner, both of whom are associated with the Somerville Museum and the current exhibition entitled Blue, The Celebration of a Color, a fascinating and extensive display featuring and celebrating the color blue through a multitude of artwork, presentations, and various associations. Martha is a Somerville-based artist, and she's also the curator at the exhibition. Alison serves as the assistant director of the museum. During the program, we'll find out why and how the exhibition came about. We'll go on a behind-the-scenes tour, and in the process, come to better understand and appreciate the many different meanings and uses of blue and its omnipresent influence on art and culture. In addition, we'll also be hearing about the mission and wide range of opportunities related to the Somerville Museum. Let's start by meeting our guests and then finding out all about the Somerville Museum and Blue, the celebration of a color. Welcome. So delighted you're both able to be here again.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
As you know, last week I had the wonderful opportunity to visit the exhibition. I was amazed by the number of items on display and also learned a lot from the thoughtful manner in which it's organized. I'm eager to find out more and have you inform viewers. But Alison, before we jump right to that, I think it would be of interest to hear briefly a little bit of your background and then reminding us of the mission and all the programs and events that the Somerville Museum has to offer, please.
Sure. So I'm Alison Drasner, and I'm now, since we last spoke, I'm the executive director at the Somerville Museum. And my background is I'm an artist. I also have a background in interior design, a master's in interior design, and I've worked with a number of different museum environments doing exhibition design, programming, and such. So I've been with the museum for about 5 years now, and we do a lot of really exciting things. And this has been a really fun experience working with Martha on Blue. So, we're excited to share this with everybody. Now, the Somerville Museum is the only private, nonprofit, membership-supported, community-based type organization of its kind in the city of Somerville. The historic collection began in 1897 and by a few individuals. And as it grew, they decided to build a museum building to house the collection, which was done in the 1920s. And then in the 1980s, the trustees decided to rebrand and be the Somerville Museum with a focus on history, art, and culture. So they broke from the Historical Society to be more of a reflection of the city that it was serving. And so our mission is really to continue being that mirror to the city of Somerville and provide community programming that includes exhibitions, events, music series, talks, and the like. The community curator program, if you would like me to tell a little bit about that.
Please do.
Sure. So Martha is a community curator, which is part of our community curator program. It's an annual call for applications, and it encourages all members of the community to apply. Anybody that has an idea for an exhibition. We select 1 to 2 proposals a year, and we grant them $2,500 each as seed grant to help offset some of the cost of an exhibition. This program is a true collaboration between the community curators and the museum staff who work with them every step of the way in the process. Mm-hmm. And this year's call for applications opens in November, closes in January, and we have an info session scheduled next week, Wednesday, October 11th at 6 p.m. So I really encourage everybody to check out the website to learn more about the program, the application process, and past exhibitions.
Wonderful, wonderful. Martha, welcome. Would you please start, before we jump right to the exhibition, just sharing a little bit about your background and artistic interests?
Sure. My art background is really just one that I have created myself. I was a public school teacher for many years. I have a master's in social work. I taught in Revere Public Schools. I taught English as a second language, and I taught health. So art was something I just kind of developed and always loved. And I consider myself a found object artist or an assemblage artist. And it is something that's grown over the last few years. I don't think I really burst forth, so to speak, as an assemblage artist until I retired from teaching, which was 9 years ago, and my kids were raised by then, and I had time. And I really started to sink my teeth into some big outdoor installation projects. And from there came Sapphire City, which I can talk about if you'd like, and my realization that I just loved the color blue and that I was collecting blue constantly and wearing blue all the time. And I did dye my hair blue for the exhibit. My hair isn't normally blue, but it's a lot of fun and the public seems to like it. I get lots of comments on my blue hair. So it's, it's been a process of developing as an artist. I just turned 70, so I feel like it's something I really came to a little bit later, but I had other things I was doing, other careers, raising children, that kind of thing.
Well, as we're going to see in the exhibition and some of your other artwork, all you're involved with, it has some fun related to it and always worth seeing. How did your interest in curating at the museum come about?
I knew about the community curator program that they offered. It's a fairly new program. I think Alison said 5 years they've been doing it. So I knew it existed, and a good friend, she became a good friend. Actually, I didn't know her before this program. Alison was the first one to receive the grant. Is that right?
No, but she was one of the first ones. Yeah.
One of the first ones. And she received a grant probably 5 years ago. And I loved her idea, and it was massive in scale. And she included so many people in the community, and she brought so many people together with her idea. I actually forget the name of it. Alison probably remembers, but it really was just such a fun exploration of the things that people collect. That's what she was exhibiting. People collect what people had saved, whatever, some special thing that people had simply saved all their lives and had never been able to throw away. And she made an entire exhibition out of it, and that really inspired me. So I enjoyed working with her and helping her actually do a lot of the display. And I always thought the color blue would be like a great idea because people love it. People love blue. And since I built Sapphire City in my front yard, that's just been brought home a million times. People constantly stop and talk to me about it and how much they love it.
I'm going to move ahead with the images, take us inside the museum. And as we get an introduction, we have this wonderful image of your home here. Would you say a few words about what we're enjoying here, and then pick up some more on Sapphire City, which we can see on the image?
Sure. This is an artist made it. She's a friend of mine. Her name is Liz Rawls, and she works with fabric and thread, and she makes what she calls quilts, but they're small. They're wall hangings. This one is about 36 by 28, something like that. And she does exteriors. She likes street scenes, and she creates street scenes using fabric. Only fabric, except in this case, she added some other things. And she told me she was going to make one of my house. And I thought, great, and didn't give it another thought until she finished it and sent me this photo. And I couldn't believe what she had done. It's an incredibly accurate replica of my house. It was kind of extraordinary. We were just amazed. And the little horses on the roof are actual little sterling silver horses that she found online. the Sapphire City, which is the blue shiny things on what I'm looking at is the right, are all glass beads that she sewed on by hand. A lot of nice little details. So this is something she simply made because she wanted to make it. And she loved, this is her art form. And I'm incredibly happy to have it in my possession. She was more than glad to send it my way. And, you know, my children already, they all want it when we die, that kind of thing, you know. It's like the biggest heirloom we have. It's quite an amazing piece, but she did a wonderful job. So I have to really commend her for her artwork.
Oh, it's stunning. And as viewers can see, in addition to making their way to the Somerville Museum, they have to drop by and visit your house as well, because that's a Somerville institution in its own right. But for the sake of time, let's move on. I have this wonderful overview shot here, which can give people a sense, especially those who haven't visited yet, on how the exhibition is organized, the different areas. Could you provide this brief overview, and then we'll look up close at some of the work?
There's a number of paintings by local artists, a few non-Somerville artists, mostly Somerville artists, however. A lot of pieces of glass, some all manufactured, nothing hand done, but beautiful nonetheless. A number of artifacts, you can't see them in this shot, but various things that use blue as the dominant theme or dominant color. I really wanted to not just include art, but other forms of art and craft and manufactured items and household items that people just loved. I wanted to have a breadth of things for people to come and see and view in the museum.
And
Alison?
just to add to that, we decided to sort of split this up into themes. You know, when you walk in, you're sort of, you come right up to this blue wall, and that was really important, we thought, because it is about blue. Yeah, and all these artifacts. And when we were putting this together, you know, Martha and I were like, I kept encouraging Martha. I was like, make it like your house, like what you do in your house. You're such a curator in your own right. Like, let's put this together. And it started to build and continue to build. It was a really fun process. So, you know, I think that this show is a collection of local artists and pieces from Martha's private collection, you know, and just sort of things she's been collecting. So it's somewhat of a collection show as well as an art show. It sort of is right on the line there. And then the other sections of the show, we have like history of blue, the history of indigo as a really important part of that, that narrative. We have information about color theory. And what else do we have, Martha? I feel like we're missing a section. The blues as a music genre. So we sort of try and think about blue as more than just a color in some sense, but also how it sort of lives in our world as part of the sky and nature, and all of that.
Yeah, you know, that's I found that very informative. And as we're going to see, there's a wonderful section devoted to local artists as well. Well, let's continue. And Martha, Alison, feel free to add too as we go. Just a couple words on the different images that we're going to be enjoying.
These are they're small artifacts that fit nicely in these two cases. A lot of beautiful handmade jewelry or manufactured jewelry, some beautiful old pawn Navajo, which you can see in that picture, beaded jewelry from Mexico and South America, where I have traveled a fair amount. The big eye in the middle is a standard, very famous Turkish symbol of good energy, shall I say. So this was a fun case to put together because there's a milk of magnesia bottle in there. There's several cobalt blue milk of magnesia bottles, you know, that my sister has collected. And so it was a nice opportunity to make small little teacups, and a child's tea set is in there. So that was fun.
Fabulous, fabulous. What are we enjoying here?
I had one of the artists made these chairs. She kind of found them on the sidewalk and decided to go home and make something playful and wonderful for my show, which is what you see. One is the dolly chair, the obvious clock dolly chair, and she calls it cartoon chair, but it reminds me of something in a Dr. Seuss book. The column on the left is an assemblage of blue items that an artist friend of mine has been collecting. Some are just plastic toys, some are beautiful little things that she made, painstakingly made, carefully assembled on a shelf. She has another piece in the show, which I don't know if there's a picture of it, but a beautifully made, embroidered and sequined doll, which is a dog doll. She's an old friend, and in Somerville. She doesn't live here anymore, but I was so glad she could be in this show.
And just as a side note, a lot of the pieces from the local artists are for sale. So if anybody is interested in that, that is an opportunity.
Terrific. And Alison, you mentioned the different themes or areas, and this was a very interesting and informative one about the blues and what you were saying, both of you were saying, just the extension of the concept of blue well beyond artwork is demonstrated throughout the exhibit. Fabulous.
Yes, absolutely. In this one, we had a little I can't remember the name, but there was music playing in this corner, blues being
Nice.
played, and that sign there has a small history of the blues and where historians think the term blue came from. Why is it associated with sadness? Because it is associated with sadness, and not always, but that is one of the connotations of the blues. So I learned a lot by doing the research.
And really this information is really meant to just start conversations. You know, we're no experts on this particular thing. We just think it's very interesting for the public to kind of connect these different themes.
No, and I think that's another outstanding part of the exhibition is the way you've blended some background information about whether it's the individual works that we can see that are posted here or about a larger theme, giving us enough background information to appreciate the works even more is extremely well done. And this is a wonderful feature. We're going to see the staircase and then above. What were some of the things you were thinking about in curating this area of the museum?
Well, I have 5 mannequins up there wearing beautiful blue clothes. They were really thrifted, but something about all those items stood out to me as a beautiful piece, like several blue gowns with sequins sewn in. The one in the very center is actually a local woman's wedding dress, and she was so pleased to have it included. So fashion was something I thought about a lot and would have loved to have filled that balcony with blue fashion, but was really happy with the way that looked when I was done. The glass sculptures that you showed earlier in the last frame are found glass sculptures that I make using, you can see, wine glasses and plates and vases and various vessels. And in fact, some of the programming that we're doing as part of this whole exhibition is a workshop that I will be running on how to make these. It has sold out and there is no more room, but it's not a difficult process, but it's very gratifying. And these go outside. And this is what Sapphire City is made of.
Wonderful.
Sculptures like this.
Let's continue and we'll try to enjoy as many as we have time for. A quick word about the local artists, please, who are participating.
Many of them, there are a lot of local artists here. The video in the middle was made and produced by the assistant director at the museum, and a really nice video homage to the planet, the blue planet, and the beauty all around us in the sea and the sky and water. And that plays when you go to the exhibition. On either side of the video are cyanotypes by a local artist. And she does a beautiful explanation of how cyanotypes are made. It's a unique process of using, I'm not even going to tell you, but I think it has something to do with using a certain kind of emulsion. She makes little pinhole boxes out of tin cans. She puts them under bushes. They lay there for months on, and then she develops them, and she gets these amazing images. There are 2 local cyanotype artists in the show. I thought that was so important.
And there's a
Fabulous.
cyanotype workshop in October that we're offering.
Oh, terrific, terrific. Let's enjoy some other artwork we'll see as we move on. Just giving viewers a sense of the incredible range of offerings. And here we're coming to another incredibly informative area that I learned a lot that I hadn't considered before. Just a word or two about the color theory area.
Well,
Alison, you want to take this?
Yeah, I'll talk a little bit about this. I thought this was really interesting. My background in interior design, and this idea that color has an effect on your mood and your attitude and the way you feel about things. And so in sort of including this section, this panel was written by Richard Newman, who is a scholar from the MFA, and he'll be doing a talk about this theory, or the theory of color theory, next week, I believe, the week after. And it's just an interesting idea to think about color in terms of not just paintings or artwork, but, you know, as an interior concept and how that makes us feel. And, you know, maybe blue is everybody's secret favorite color. So we'll find out.
I have to say I am in that camp for sure. Even more so after touring the exhibition.
When were you at the museum, Jay, recently?
About a week ago, shortly after it opened.
Oh, okay, good.
Again, here's another incredibly interesting and informative area on indigo. Either of you share just a little background what viewers can enjoy here?
I learned a lot about indigo by doing this show. I did some research. Indigo, I did not know it, but indigo was one of the very first ways that humans could access the color blue in an affordable way, because indigo is a plant and it can be grown and harvested. And it's used in denim jeans, for instance, but it's used in all kinds of other ways. But what I didn't know was that it has a long history of being a crop that was used in the slave trade, and that enslaved people in the United States and other parts of the world were responsible for growing and processing indigo. It preceded cotton and tobacco as 2 of the big crops on the southern plantations in this country. So that was something I did not know. There, you can see in the picture several pieces of cloth draping over the and on that mannequin that I borrowed from my sister. They are beautifully hand woven, hand dyed shawls from Africa that she's been collecting bit by bit for many years. And there's a couple others outside of the frame. So they're beautiful pieces of art and clothing. So I was so pleased to just know more about how wonderful indigo is, but that it has a difficult history as well.
Well put, well put. A quick word about this wall.
Martha.
I am part of, yep. Did you want to talk?
No,
Alison?
please go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'm part of a 10-member art club. It's just a casual group of friends. We're all artists, and we get together every month, and we give. There's a prompt, and each of us is to make something in response to a prompt. And my co-members of the club knew that I was going to ask them to do blue. And I think I finally asked them to, I think in May or June, I said, okay, the time has come. Blue is the prompt. And this was a response by one of the members to blue as a prompt. The other members all have pieces in the show as well. So there should be 10 people there who responded to blue as a prompt with very, very different kinds of art. This is a triptych, and it speaks to climate change. And the artist spent, she was very devoted to making this piece exactly the way she wanted. She spent a lot of time on it. She feels it's hopeful, that, as you can see from the title, total annihilation is not inevitable. She feels a bit pessimistic about climate change, but she was very happy with her message and how it turned out. And I think it looks great on that wall, actually.
You know, as we are coming towards the end, I'm going to show a few more images. And as I do, Alison, could you share some of the reaction and feedback so far about the exhibition?
Yeah, well, I will say for that, while you were just showing, I had one of the members of our fundraising team was there for the opening night, and she told me that this one spoke to her. Like, this was her favorite piece in the show. It really, she loved the message, she got it, and she just loved it. I've had other people come up to us just saying, like, it's just such a fun show, and they really enjoy it. And all the artists are so wonderful and have come a number of times with family and friends and really enjoying being part of this group. So it's been really positive reviews so far, and we're really looking forward to the next few months and all the programming we have planned. Which includes, we just had last week a concert with Calliope Reed Quintet, which they featured all music related to blue, like Rhapsody in Blue, and it was wonderful. Then we have a curator talk with Martha on October 21st, which I hope everybody signs up for because it'll be fabulous. We have a talk with Richard Newman from the MFA on the history of the color blue, and a cyanotype workshop with local artist Karen Malloy, who's also featured in the show, as well as a glass art sculpture workshop with Martha Friend, which unfortunately is sold out. But we hope everybody will check out our website for more information about those events and sign up, you know, ahead of time. And we're really excited to be able to share this with the community.
Oh, well, delighted both of you had the time to share the exhibition and much more about the Somerville Museum with us today. Definitely encourage people to make the way, and we'll have that follow-up information in the credits. Martha, congratulations on this incredible effort, undertaking, amazing accomplishment, and definitely look forward to it, enjoying it another occasion. Continued success to both of you and future endeavors.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was fun talking with you. Thank you.
Also want to thank those of you watching for joining us, and hope you'll be able to tune in next time.